Thank you, Tech. Thank you for that. Appreciate you, Tech. And I wanted to get into this video here. Morphologis talking about NFTs and crypto, and a lot of people putting this kind of negative slant to NFTs and crypto, and I get it. There's so many people out there that are trying to scam people, that are trying to take money to take money's sake. And there's so many of these things where you as an individual have to determine, what the true intent is of the people trying to raise funds and money. It's very speculative in nature. There's so many people out there that are willing to take your money, and then you get left holding the bag. And I understand that viewpoint. I really do. But I want to, for 1 second, talk about how, there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of miseducation in terms of like what NFTs and cryptos are. It's a digital asset. The fact that these things are called what they're called, it almost lends itself to making people think they're scamazes. And I understand it, but there's an element to it where 95% of it's trash and 5% it has utility and function. Some of it will be worth a lot. Some of the NFTs, which is like the art realm, right, cannot be copied. Like a lot of people say, oh, it can be copied. Oh, you can copy these things. No, they're attached to a wallet. You literally own it, and nobody can steal it from you. Nobody can take it from you. In the case of Star Atlas, when you pledge, you put money down, they give you an NFT. You get that ship, and you can't lose your NFT just because you lose the ship in the game. That's not how it works. Because nobody's able to go into your wallet and take it from you once you buy it. Once you buy that, it's yours. Okay, so there's a lot of misconception about what in fact an NFT is. Non-fungible tokens are literally like artwork created by some people who actually know what the fuck they're doing and create really cool art. And it is speculative, and it's either valuable or it isn't. In a lot of cases, it isn't. What Star Atlas is doing, it goes down to like the intent of the creator. Like a lot of people behind Star Atlas, people look at Star Atlas and say, well, this team doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And the intent is that they're just trying to take money away. So a lot of bad, there's a lot of bad shit, a lot of bad juju, a lot of bad karma put on people like Star Atlas, because the developers, in a lot of people's generalized view of Star Atlas, they think that the developers don't know how to design a game. I haven't done the research yet to know if they do in fact know what the fuck they're doing or not. But I will say this, eventually I think the intent of somebody out there is going to be genuine, and it's not going to have the AAA backing where they're trying to steal and take your fucking money, and it's not a money grab. And they're actually saying, hey, we want to make something cool. We are game designers. We know what we're doing, and we're using NFTs to fund this. Then there's a cool element to it, which is going to be very rare. Okay, I'm telling you right now, it is going to be very rare. Will be like an upgrade to a pledge system, because not only are you pledging, but you own something. You own a digital asset that cannot be taken from you, and that might actually be worth something. So not only are you pledging and helping a project, but you are also owning something, and that might actually accrue in value. And you actually are pledging, and you might have something that's worth something someday. That's kind of cool to me. As a gamer and as a trader dude, that's kind of cool to me. But a lot of people can attach like negative stigma to it and say, well, this is bullshit. It's just a money grab, blah, blah, blah. I totally understand that too. I totally get that too. It's a very hot topic right now, but I don't really hear a lot of educated people in the financial world talk about it to a gaming community. I hear a lot of gamers talk about it that don't know much about the financial world, but I never hear a gamer that has financial advice opinions, I can't say advice, but financial opinions that actually sounds intelligent, that knows what the fuck they're talking about. That's me. Hi, guys. So what I'm trying to say is that it's very speculative in nature. Some of you might not like it. I think a lot of you guys watch content from people like Morphologis and other that are poo-pooing it. I'm not quite sure what he says about this. I'm very curious to see what he's going to say about NFTs and crypto. But these should be called digital assets. And what you're going to see sliding into 2022, 2023, 2024 is this whole NFT cryptocurrency, these labels that we put on everything and we don't know what it is that we're talking about, most of us, is going to start calling digital assets, because in fact, that's what they are. It's an asset that you own. Now, whether it's worth something or not, whether you want to get involved in it or not, totally up to you. And a lot of them, like I said, they're going to be scamazes. They're going to be scams, a lot of them. Okay, but there are going to be some, and it really depends upon the developer and their intent, that are actually mean well. And then our game designers, they're using it to raise funds, and they're going to break a lot of records. But I think you're going to see so many people with the money grabs right now and the hype words and NFTs and cryptos and all this shit that, you know, are just going to put money in it and are going to take people's money, and it's going to put a fucking bad name all over it. You can already see it happening right now. So it's kind of sad to me because there's a lot of miseducation out there about this. And there's going to be tons of regulation hitting the space in 2022 and 2023. You're just going to see tons of overregulation because there's a lot of people that are going to fall for, you know, scams that are in fact scams through NFTs, and they don't do their own research, and they don't know what it is that they're putting their money on. And you're going to see a lot of people who are uneducated about this topic lose a lot of money. And then you're going to see the government come in and overregulate the space. And it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing to me, because if there was just somebody out there who would speak some sense to people and explain to people what in fact this is, you'd have a completely different mindset. Unfortunately, you know, Square Enix, Ubisoft, all these big corporate names are coming in, grabbing onto this NFT hype train, and they're going to fucking ruin it. And they're going to put bad taste in everybody's mouth. And it's already happening. It's already happening. But there might be a glimmer of hope. There might be like a small percentage of developers out there that actually do this correctly, that will offer these, and some of these are going to be worth something, and you have the ability to help out a project that is worthy, and that the game designers are actually cool, you know? Starlet says, I've been scammed, totally my fault for not doing the due diligence. Back in it again, doing it right. Yep. And it's a very dangerous realm, and you have to you know, do the due diligence, like Starlet says. So again, that's just a viewpoint that isn't out there, and I like to offer a different kind of perspective on things, because you will see tons of people like you know, and I don't know, again, because we haven't even watched this video yet, and I'm kind of going on long in the tooth here. I apologize, but you'll see tons of content creators that just do it because everybody else does it, and they hop on the fucking bandwagon just as bad as developers and other people will hop on for the money grab, you know. So, and they'll hop on and they'll say, oh, NFTs are terrible, cryptocurrencies are terrible, oh, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible, but not really understand what it is that they're fucking talking about. So let's see if Morphologis understands it. Let's see what he's talking about here.
If there's one thing that Star Citizen is most known for, or maybe notorious for, it's its expensive ships. Vessels like this Javelin can go for $2,500 on the website when they go on sale, whereas ships that are available on the website to purchase year-round can range anywhere between $45 all the way up to $800. And say what you will about the success of the game itself, the success of its funding model has propelled it to well over $500 million US as of 2021. But these numbers may soon be eclipsed by a new game on the block. You may have heard of it. It's called Star Atlas, and it uses what's called non-fungible tokens in the form of its ships and items to help fund the development of the game. Without even a working prototype for its game engine, it's already sold ships successfully for upwards of $40,000 US, such as this Calico Guardian, which is now the most expensive ship for a video game ever sold. Naturally then, this has led many both inside and outside the Star Citizen community to wonder when and if Star Citizen will begin offering its own NFT sales, as it's clear that there's already an appetite in the Star Citizen community for very expensive virtual things. But what would this actually mean for Star Citizen's development, and how would it affect the gameplay experience? What are the upsides and what are the downsides? And actually, what even is a non-fungible token? What is cryptocurrency? Hey guys, I'm Morphologis, and in this video, I'm going to help answer these questions so you have a better understanding of what NFTs would mean for Star Citizen if they were to ever implement them, as its gameplay implications would have far-reaching consequences to the existing form of Star Citizen. So I hope you'll join me on this journey, and if you think I did a good job by the end, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to show your support. You can also occasionally find me live on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So let's get started. Before I go into any explanation for what this could mean for Star Citizen, you'll first have to have a basic understanding of what non-fungible tokens and cryptocurrencies are. But if you already have a good handle on it, feel free to skip ahead. But
yeah, let's not forget that Star Citizen was at this stage. Right. So yeah, I mean, like, that was not gameplay, what we saw in that Unreal Engine 5 demo from Star Atlas. That was like a cinematic with game assets put into it. But Star Citizen had done the same thing back in the day with the Redeemer in 2015, I believe, 2015 thereabouts, where they showed the Redeemer pull into a station very similar. In fact, it looks like Star Atlas literally pulled that idea from Star Citizen and did the same thing on UE5 on this most recent video that they had published in December. So let us just remember that that is exactly the way the Star Citizen started, and we all remember Scam Citizen. We still see it in the comments, we still see it, and we're all playing the game now. So there is something to be said about that. I personally think that NFTs used in Star Citizen might be a viable option if you consider the fact that 80% of the revenue made from Cloud Imperium is in ship sales. When ship sales stop, because they will, according to Chris Roberts, when the game is finished, where's the revenue going to go? That's a large chunk of revenue that's going to be gone if, in fact, they stop selling ships. If he stays true to his word, when the game is finished, they have a large percentage of the revenue out the fucking door. So how are they going to continue that funding model to keep the offices and the employees? So that is something that needs to be talked about, that also I don't hear being talked about at all.
But if you don't, really, stick around please, because you're gonna have to understand this before I can explain anything else. So NFTs stand for non-fungible tokens, and that just means that it can't be replicated, because it works in the same way as a Bitcoin or a crypto coin in general. So in order to purchase a crypto coin or NFT, you first need a wallet on a cryptocurrency market,
I like how he busted
like
this
the
down.
marketplace on Star Atlas's website. All NFTs are based on a form of cryptocurrency. In Star Atlas's case, it's based on the Ethereum blockchain. Once you have a wallet, you can make a purchase. That transaction is written to a ledger once you make the purchase into a block of code. We're just going to call that a block for short.
Right.
Once it's created, the block is sent to all the computers participating in the network.
Right.
This is where cryptocurrency farmers come into play. They verify the transaction and receive a reward in the form of a crypto coin. After that, the block is added to the existing blockchain, which is then redistributed to the network of computers participating. That means that every computer contains a copy of that transaction. This is what makes cryptocurrency so appealing, a decentralized ledger that makes it nearly impossible to hack, as every computer on the network would have to be hacked simultaneously to create a false transaction. After that, you get your cryptocurrency with the NFT embedded.
And currently, as of today, there's over 200 million people, almost 300, involved in cryptocurrency. And that it basically is a decentralized network tied together of over 200 to 300 million computers in sync, creating their own network or their own web, and that is what is the really selling point of cryptocurrencies. But again, I think the moniker of cryptocurrency is going to fall to the wayside in certain instances for some of these cryptos, and they're going to be called digital assets. I think you'll start to see that because some of them are stores of value and not used as currency whatsoever.
Within the block. It is now indisputable that your wallet owns that.
And this is a really interesting thing, and I see this a lot, and I think it's a misnomer a little bit, Grizz, and I'm going to tell you why. Because like an EMP worldwide, to take out 300 million computers would be a very difficult thing to do. Locally, an EMP would have an effect on a network in the localized area, but because the entire network is the world, the only way that an EMP blast could sufficiently take out the entire realm of crypto, as it were, or the blockchains involved with crypto, would be like a fucking coronal mass from the sun that would knock out everything worldwide. And I think in that case, you'd still have some of the network up because of it not getting hit on the opposite side of the earth. So if you have cold storage wallets, you can protect yourself from that as well by taking what is called a cold wallet, like a nano ledger, and you can take cryptos from an exchange or a decentralized exchange and put it directly on a hardware device, and then you can buy yourself a Faraday bag, put it inside, which will protect it from EMPs. And you're safe. So I don't think that EMP theory is a legitimate concern or worry for those that take the steps to be precautionary about it. So just wanted to inform those, because that is a comment I see all the time. All the time.
NFT, or in this case, a ship. So to summarize then, when I buy a Calico Atlas Starship, what I'm actually buying is a block.
The computers are essentially tied together through the network. There's not like a centralized server, Grizz. So like everybody's computer tied to the chain involved essentially are the servers. So that's why they call it a decentralized network, Grizz, because everybody's computer that's tied to the network is essentially its own server, you know? So that's pretty much, yeah, it's okay, Grizz, it's okay.
Block ledger with a ship embedded in it. At the moment of transaction, all the blocks in the blockchain are updated and now contain the information that I've purchased it and that my wallet owns it indisputably. But how can something digital actually have value? Can't you just copy paste it? Well, cryptocurrencies derive their value through the artificial scarcity achieved by the unique codes that cannot be spoofed that are part of each blockchain that are created as part of the crypto coin. Scarcity can be created then by limiting or capping the amount of these coins that can be produced.
So that's another thing I see a lot of the times too. Is, oh, well, you can copy these cryptos or you can copy these NFTs, and no, you cannot. You cannot copy them. There is no legitimate way. Every computer that's tied to the network has to validate, you know, these assets that hit, these coins that hit, these NFTs that hit, and this validation process is what makes the block. And there's no way to really copy that. There's no way to copy something that's been created through this chain, and so that's essentially ownership. You own it. It's a digital asset, which is, you know, this is the digitization of the fucking banking industry. You know, like in the 90s, we had the digitization of music. We saw digitization happen on many things through the 90s and the early 2000s. And what's happening now with cryptocurrency and NFTs is the digitization of everything that has not been digitized yet, which is art, and that's NFT space, currencies, and the old legacy system, the old legacy financial system is falling to the wayside. And that's why these banks are scared shitless. And that's why these banks are so against it. And the IMF, International Monetary Fund, is so against it. The central banking system is so against it. They don't want it. And I think it's something that people do want. You can see the adoption rate is ridiculous. Over 300 million people today using cryptocurrencies. It's going to be a thing. It's the new internet. It's going to happen whether people like it or not. It's the digitization of energy. It's I won't start.
Additionally, the transaction speed at which they can be produced is a big factor in how valuable they are. The faster the transaction, the more valuable the coin is potentially. Its reliability and security is also a big factor, but this is getting a little bit too much into the weeds here, so I'm going to leave it there. NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, take it one step further by attaching an even more unique code to it, which is the picture or ship or whatever item that's associated with that cryptocurrency. All right, now that we've covered the basics of non-fungible tokens and cryptocurrency, let's move on to how games like...
And like, I get it. And Grizz is saying these videos are all... I like that Grizz is here because this is great. He's like got this viewpoint, and it's good to have these talking points. I don't think anything that we're watching from Star Atlas right now is gameplay. But in the similar vein, I didn't think anything from Star Citizen from 2012 all the way up until about 2014 was gameplay either. You know? So that is the stage that we're talking about. When we talk about how things are successful, there's three things in my mind that make these types of titles successful. And that is the amount of belief behind it, you know, the amount of revenue made from that belief. And the third thing, which I think is the most important thing, is the intent of the developers behind the project. And I know that Star Atlas has the first two things. I'm not sure about the third thing. I know that there's a lot of belief behind this project, and that belief brings about tons of revenue. So those two things happen for Star Citizen. And the third thing with Star Citizen is the developers. And it had that kind of really nostalgic coolness of Chris Roberts. And you know, because he made games in the past and you played them and you loved those games. And all three things hit for Star Citizen. What the thing I'm worried about with Star Atlas is that I don't necessarily feel it in the developer side of things. I don't feel it on that very third important point. However, they're doing something that I find truly fascinating, and that is tying NFTs with this. And a lot of people are poo-pooing NFTs right now, and a lot of people are upset. And like I said at the very beginning of the video, it's probably because a lot of them are money grabs. A lot of 95%, this is all speculation. A lot of your money can be wasted. A lot of your money can be taken from you. I get it. But the difference is here is that you own something. And there is a small chance of that ownership translating into you actually making a profit or making money for it. But people will say, well, that's a game. I don't want to make profit. I get it. I understand people aren't in it for that, right? But if I can pledge something to a game and own something at the same time helping the project, and I have something that I own and that the project is successful and that this thing that I own does accrue in value, then it's kind of like an upgrade of the pledging system. You see, when people pledge in Star Atlas, they own something. That is a step up in my view. That's kind of like a step up. It might fall flat on its face, the same way Star Citizen could have fallen flat on its face, right? But it's interesting because it's almost like a win-win if everything works out, you know? And in Star Citizen's case, when the question is, should it have NFTs or cryptocurrency? I come to this realization that eventually 80% of the revenue made is from ship sales, and that eventually ship sale revenue will not be there anymore because Chris said, we are not going to sell ships when the game is finalized. Now, how are other ways that they can bring in revenue that will equal that 80% that they're bringing in right now, the revenue through ship sales? Well, they can do a lot of things. We've seen like these modules, this module concept that we're starting to see in a lot of ship designs. You can see these different modules selling from different prices, and you're going to see modularity be a portion of how the revenue comes in, maybe after the ship sales, right? Maybe that's a way they'll bring in money. We can see subscription sales grow, but subscription sales are nowhere near that 80% of revenue that is ship sales now. So then I think to myself, like, what is an alternate form and to bring that fucking revenue in? They could also sell, right? They can license their engine out, the Star engine, which is amalgam of the Cry engine and the and Lumberyard, right? They can do that as well. I'm not quite sure how much revenue that can bring in tech. That's a really good point. That's a really good point as well. But that is, if you really think behind it, guys, like, let's not bullshit ourselves. The money they're bringing in is from ship sales or pledges, right? So let us think about an actual future where that revenue's gone. We have to start thinking about that. We're getting closer and closer to this final point. A lot of people disagree with it, but I think once dynamic server meshing hits and they jump over this dynamic server meshing hurdle, you're gonna see fucking like this. You're just gonna see it snap all into place. A lot of people disagree with me, but I think that's what will happen. And I think we'll see that at the end of 2022, possibly 2023. I really think after that happens, if Chris stays true to his word and says, I'm not going to sell ship sales anymore, then you really have to imagine a future in which that revenue is gone. And now you have to look at Frankfurt, Manchester, all the employees, and you have to say, well, how is CIG as a business model going to support those employees, going to keep that growth? Where's the revenue going to come from? Will skins do it? There could be many things. They can license out. They could license out the engine, like Tech was saying. They could do skins. They can do the modularity concepts, the modules. They could sell those. They could do a lot of things. But I'm not quite sure that it's going to bring in the kind of cash that they were accustomed to. I go to this. I gravitate to this, and a lot of people think, "Oh God, no!" For all the reasons I talked about at the very initial, at this video, I really want people to have like an open mind with this shit and realize that these are digital assets, and that people with good intentions, and there's not a lot of them, okay, but I believe that Cloud Imperium does have good intentions. I've been part of this project for a very long time. They've been very transparent. And if Cloud Imperium did say they were bringing out NFTs and cryptos, I wouldn't be opposed to it because I know that there has to be something to substitute that revenue once ship sales are gone. And it's not an evil thing unless Square Enix and Ubisoft and these AAA gamers that have fucking ripped us off for fucking decades get behind it. They do their own model. They do their own business model. They will take the money from you and fucking bend you over. And, that is true. But will Cloud Imperium? I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Like Star Atlas actually make their money. Alright, so here's how the funding model works. It actually works in a couple different ways. First of all, the marketplace itself charges for the transactions. So whether or not you're making money or you're losing money in this market, they're making money off of each transaction that you make, either buying or selling NFTs and cryptocurrency. This means that from the beginning to end, they're always making a net positive gain in the amount of money that they make, while taking on a minimal amount of risk. Additionally, when they sell NFTs or non-fungible token ships, they can limit the amount that they sell and then retain a small portion for themselves to sell later once those NFTs become valuable. However,
you
deriving
can.
value
There's a lot
in
of things you can do with the channel points. You should be able to,
than
Grizz.
just the basic Ethereum blockchain or any sort of other cryptocurrency. For this to work, they also need to create perceived value in the product by hiking up its production, by saying it's going to be the best thing ever.
You should be able
in essence,
to like
then,
highlight
perception
messages
is
and
the
other
key
things.
to creating value in a game that uses cryptocurrency. This of course means then that if the game is found to be a scam, or if it's going to fail, if the developers are bailing, the cryptocurrency, the NFT values will all crash within that market.
Yeah, it is a new form of venture capital. That is a great comment. Starlet says the Star Atlas thing is actually a new form of venture capital. You know that in the old world, only one of 20 ventures that venture capitalists invested in really hit pay dirt, and maybe 15 are totally losses. Right? Exactly. And that's exactly kind of correlates to what I said at the very beginning. Is a very speculative thing. Venture capitalism and this new world of digital assets. It's very speculative. But it pays off if it is successful, right? That's good. That's a good comment.
This crash is, of course, created by people selling because they know that the value is going down and they don't want to lose their investment money.
For game
Ultimately,
development.
then, the value of items within a marketplace like Star Atlas's is determined by the people who are part of the market itself. That includes gamers, investors, content creators, and to some small extent, the developers themselves.
Yep.
Contrasting that with Star Citizen's existing funding model, and you'll find that this system is actually very different. In their current model, you can purchase ships and even liquidate them for cash on their system, but you can never pull your money back out, at least officially. There
on the
is
gray
a
market,
third-party,
you can, yeah.
unaffiliated gray market where ships can be bought and sold, but the developers of Star Citizen have actively discouraged its use as it often is used to scam unsuspecting buyers out of large sums of money. In short, then, the funding model for Star Citizen is clearly advertised as not an investment, but as a pledge or donation to development, with explicit language that doesn't promise return on any kind of investment. So when people talk about investing in Star Citizen, either they mean it colloquially as getting a return of fun for their investment, or literally since they're selling ships on the gray market for a small profit. It's worth noting here though that CIG have recently crashed the gray market by unlimiting previously limited ships, and I speculate that this was an intentional side effect. So to be very, very clear here, when you buy into Star Atlas, there's a promise of making...
Yeah, with Star Citizen, there's this artificial scarcity thing, right? And so what happens is the gray market, which is like a third-party exterior market that exists outside of the Star Citizen spectrum, where people are then taking their pledges and their ships and then selling them at a higher price because you cannot buy them on the Roberts site anymore, are jacking up prices because you can't buy them on the site anymore. So there is a value that gets attached to certain ships that go up in price. So I think Morphologis' assessment is correct. What he's saying is that the way that they kind of squash this gray market is then they say, oh, in this artificial scarcity that was once there is gone, because then they'll sell it again. And so the people who are in the gray market who own these ships will then get squashed, and it will make them think twice about doing what it is that they are doing, right? Starlet says, so while the negativity here, where you at least are being given access to the opportunity, however good or bad. Right. Exactly, Starlet. I totally agree with Starlet's viewpoint on this in terms of like, you know, this funding model that is, I think, an evolution as long as the intent behind the developers is genuine and true. I think that this is an upgrade to the way that the pledge system is now for Star Citizen. But again, that hinges on the intent behind behind the developers, right? So that's why I always say in cases like these where you have your three kind of points on what would make a successful evolution upgrade to this pledge system that we're accustomed to in Star Citizen, which is one, again, the belief behind it, the revenue brought in by that belief, and the third most important point is the intent of the developers that are raising the money. And if all three line up, right, if you have the amount of belief there, if that translates into the revenue brought in, and the third point being that the intent of the developer is genuine, then I consider this an evolution. If I can own something that accrues in value, I think, wow, if I can pledge to a project and the project's successful and the developers have a good intentions behind it, and I also can make money on a pledge, I don't see what the problem is. I think people that are fighting this are just not informed correctly about NFTs and cryptocurrencies, and they think everything's a scam and everybody's trying to take your money, you know? And I see a lot of that content out there because, you know, again, with your due diligence, if you're the person who's going to take the time to research it and understand what it is that you're getting into, then I think you're more knowledgeable in this genre of new fundraising, and you're going to be much more skeptical, and you'll be much more you'll take your time to choose what it is that you want to get involved with, right? And if you do know, and hopefully this video is helping you guys out, then you will be selective and you will be careful, and you will know what you're getting yourself into, like a real adult, like a real person, like a real adult with a rational mind.
Real money. There's a promise of playing to earn. When you buy Star Citizen, there's no promise of any such thing. There's only a promise of delivering a fun product.
Starlet. I like this so far. I think Morphologis is doing a great job here.
To this sort of non-fungible token cryptocurrency system in a game. For one, it makes it a lot harder to spoof getting free stuff. Another thing is that these items
did you put whiskey in your coffee this morning, Grizz? What's going on, buddy?
You want to get out of the project because you're not interested anymore, or it's just taking too long and you want to move on. With Star Citizen's funding model, there's no way for you to get out of the project after you've spent thousands of dollars. There's no way for you to get all of your money back. Sure, you might be able to get some back out of the gray market, but I've heard of people selling their accounts for half of the value that it was originally bought for. The clearest and most obvious benefit to a system like this, though, is that NFTs can reap tons and tons of money in for whoever owns the market, potentially putting Star Citizen's funding model, should they choose to use NFTs, not in the hundreds of millions, but billions.
Yep.
At least in theory. And of course, who wouldn't want to make money playing video games? I mean, that's the fantasy of many of us since we were kids, at least if you're watching this video. Only we probably didn't imagine making money quite in this way.
I like Grumpy.
But what about the downsides to having NFTs?
I think Morph did a really good job with this.
Citizen? Before I start this section, let me preface this by saying that I personally do have investments in cryptocurrency.
Yep.
And looking at my statistics for Star Citizen,
you can actually tell he's very knowledgeable. So far, so good. He's informing people of both the pros and the cons, and I'm actually I'm surprised by this. I didn't know if he was I didn't know if he knew about this world, this in terms of the financial definitions behind cryptocurrencies and blockchain and NFTs. But he's doing a fantastic job. You can tell he knows a bit about it. What's up, Tiana? Welcome to the fam.
Average player of the game is
Ada.
A little older.
Don't get me started talking about Cardano,
E-Rat. So it's natural for people around that age range to be looking into investments, and that's why I think that a topic like this may be interesting to many of you watching. Furthermore, I don't think that all NFT games are scams, or even that Star Atlas is a scam, which leads me to the first downside to any NFT-based system. It could be a scam. Here's what I mean. You've probably heard about the stories of people becoming overnight millionaires by investing a very small amount of money in a cryptocurrency or even an NFT. The trick is here, though, that these people obviously had to get in on this early. And so when a new NFT or cryptocurrency is announced, if there's a lot of hype around it, people are quick to purchase it, which increases its value in a lot of cases pretty dramatically.
And you get this
especially when a big name announces that they're going to buy some of it. The unscrupulous and unethical are well aware of this, and are ready to take advantage of people's ignorance around game development as well as cryptocurrency to make some money. So what's happened is that there have been video games announced with cryptocurrencies and NFTs that people have bought into.
Dogecoin. Hey, you know what? I actually agree with Elon Musk's view of Dogecoin, which is like I was talking earlier about digital assets versus cryptocurrency. It can be the same bag at the same time. Like, you know, Bitcoin I view as a digital asset, not so much as a cryptocurrency like it's labeled. Certain other cryptocurrencies I view as digital assets of like stores of value. And you know, when it comes to Dogecoin, where you have like this huge supply, this crazy amount of coins, like Dogecoin and Shibu, like, you know, Elon's view of Dogecoin is that he doesn't ever think it's going to get over $1 because there's just so fucking much of it, which I agree. But he does think that it's a way in which it can be used as a currency because there's so goddamn much of it. I mean, if you really look at the money printing that's been going on in the United States, where they've increased the amount of money supply by 40% this year, then you would almost say that our cash is Dogecoin. If you do the numbers, I wonder if it actually stacks up with the amount of how many dollar bills there are as opposed to how many Dogecoin there are, right?
That have ended with the developers selling off their share of the market and running away with the profits never to be seen again. To be fair here, this can happen even with a game like Star Citizen. They could run away with the money. The difference being that the people who run away with cryptocurrency markets are running away with your kid's college fund and not just with a small amount of money you spent on a video game that you really hope
this coffee is $2 today. I used to buy it for $1.60
thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars that people put into these projects that have evaporated overnight. What's even worse here is that unlike traditional markets, cryptocurrency markets have very little legislation to protect investors, and so you have very little ability to go after the people who stole your money. This is just an unfortunate side effect of our governments being controlled by dinosaurs.
Look at that bangle.
But then you might say, and this is a pretty good argument, that Star Citizen has been around for a while now.
That gives me
10 years and has a viable product
Battlestar
to show,
Galactica vibes, man, when I see that.
Part of one, right? And so it's not exactly starting from scratch. Furthermore, in a lot of the cases...
Strat says, DG, your idea of NFTs and SC doesn't sound too bad, but it hinges on some very specific stipulations. I don't think I want to take the chance on opening the can of worms if there is even a slight possibility that it could be handed the wrong way and ruin the amazing community and experience that SC is or will be. I think again, it hinges on those 3 points, Strat. You know what I mean? Like the belief behind the project, that belief translating to revenue. We've already seen that happen with Star Citizen in spades. You've already seen the 500 million that we're near right now, and the developers and the intent behind the developers, and all three are there in Star Citizen's case. You know, introducing NFTs might put a bad taste in the Star Citizen community's mouth because they're not aware of the facts that we're talking about here, right? So it's very important to inform my audience. It's very responsible what Morphologis is doing. I respect this video. I respect the amount of time that he put into this video. It is important to inform people about this correctly. Right now, everybody is under the impression that all of it is a fucking scam, and it's a very polarizing topic, and humans are easy to gravitate to one or the other. Black or white, salt or pepper, you know, like it's like but when you start to really dig in and delve and see what this whole digitization of everything else is that's happening right now, and you understand that you could actually own something that could accrue in value, it doesn't have such a bad taste in your mouth anymore. But again, there's not a lot of people pushing this information out there. There's not a lot of people properly giving people the information they need to make up their own minds about it. What you'll see is a lot of content creators go, oh, it's bad, because it gets them views, it's clickbaity, and you know, they're not doing any service to anybody by not informing their audience, their community, the people that they are, that should be important to them. Dr. Lurk says, what's a pencil? Man, can't help you there, Lurk. I can't help you there, Lurk. Because Ash says crypto and NFT are just technology. They are not inherently bad. Saying they are is like blaming a pencil for spelling mistakes. That's great. That's so good. That's so good, Ash. That's a wonderful analogy, man. That's really cool. I love my community here, and I take my time out to really educate. I think it's really important that content providers and people that are like myself in this genre of media, it's important they take the time to inform their audience and educate their audience. That does not happen enough. It doesn't. There's 95% of content creators out there that will just glom on to whatever trend there is, put some fucking thumbnail on that's clickbaity, and then just kind of resuscitate or regurgitate whatever's popular to regurgitate. And I see it happen so much, and that would never happen here. And I can always promise you guys 110% of the time, I will always educate and inform people of what it is that the content that we're watching. It's important. It's so fucking important to do. And there's not enough people that are doing it out there. Tech says many creators are telling their followers to take dewormer.
Where people got scammed out of money with these NFT games, the developers had no history of making games before, and that should have set off red flags to the people who invested, but what can you do? Well, with NFT games and games with cryptocurrencies, you can be scammed in a different way. Not by the developers, but by the people in the community itself. In a system where there's a promise for a profit to be made and you create a real portfolio of investments, people want to see a return on that investment.
Yes,
they want to get
ROI.
what they were promised.
Yep.
And so for those following the NFT game, they're never going to speak negatively about that product because it can negatively affect their stock portfolio, their cryptocurrency NFT portfolio. If they say one bad thing about their Calico
That's such a
Starship,
good point.
it could drop in value and they can't get their money back. This, as you can imagine, could create a runaway effect where everybody's speaking positively about a project despite seeing red flags. If you want an example of this, look no further than
I think what he's speaking to, Starlet, is like if you are a content creator. Well, he's not talking about content creators. He's just talking about the community involved with it, so that like everybody essentially would be like a white knight. So that everybody would support it, even if the shit sucks. So there would be no cynicism anymore. There would be no logical reason to say, "Hey, this sucks," because if you're involved in it in an investment, you're not going to diss your own investment. I think is what he's trying to say.
Earth 2. Kira TV's done a great series on it, so has Big Fry. You should check them out if you're interested. This is doubly true for content creators in those communities, as they can heavily influence the perception, which I talked about.
I don't think we'll never have a problem here on DG360 of saying that something sucks. Like, trust me, if I was involved in this and I actually bought an NFT of a ship, and then in the game I got the ship finally when Star Atlas comes out and I fly the motherfucker and it sucks, I will say it sucks even if I own the NFT involved in it. I will say this motherfucker sucks. And that is the interesting thing that Morph is talking about here. He's talking about, hey, you might have like this thing happen where like content creators, well, he's not saying it directly, but I'm saying that this might happen where like content creators would get involved with Star Atlas, buy the NFT, fly the shipping game when it comes out, right? And then the ship sucks, but they don't say it sucks because they have an NFT attached to the ship in their wallet, and they don't want to say anything bad about it. So, they're going to be like, oh, this is still so great. And then we'll wait to sell their NFT, right? I have no problem saying something sucks.
A huge influence on the value of the cryptocurrency and NFTs associated
that is something
with
we will definitely
watch soon. In some
soon.
cases, these content creators may have been approached by the creator of the market to promote the product positively in exchange for having some cryptocurrency or NFT that's about to go on sale. You may then say, wait, that's insider trading. Yes, it is, but it's unregulated, so what can you do? And if you don't think that this can happen, I'll tell you right now that I've actually already received emails from numerous NFT games for doing just this very thing. That, of course, means that there's a lot of incentive not to make your process transparent, because if there's a hiccup or something, it can affect the market and affect your profits. Now, you may say that the value of a product can be derived from your trust in the producer of the product, and I would agree. However, how can you know if they're lying? How can you verify that what they're saying is true about the development of the game when there are so many incentives not to tell the truth? But I'm not done yet. There's more. NFTs as part of a game system carry with it a different kind of gameplay design. For example, if you buy a ship from the market and it's worth 40,000 US dollars, it must also be worth the equivalent value in credits in-game of 40,000 US dollars, or it will decrease the value of that item because you can just purchase it in the game more easily than you can in the real world. And thus the grind itself also has to be adjusted. It can't be too easy to acquire things, otherwise again you're devaluing the market. This kind of system would also complicate the way that you purchase ships in Star Citizen. Limited ships would therefore then be very difficult to purchase in-game because if you could buy a Javelin in-game, it would decrease the value.
People here are saying that Big Fry, who's a content creator I've never really heard of, but they're saying Big Fry shit on it hard and on Blue Drake for just talking about it, which wasn't very cool of him, really. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the instance I'm talking about where some content creators are just hopping on the hype so that they probably aren't informed about what the fuck NFTs are, have no idea what they are, cryptocurrencies, what they are, and they're just like hopping on the fucking bandwagon of hating NFTs and cryptocurrencies. And so, yeah, maybe, I don't know. I haven't watched it yet, so I have no idea. So I should probably wait until I watch that.
Value of that Javelin on the market as you increase the amount of them available. This may lead to undesirable effects like hoarding, like what we see in the real world, which can eventually lead to a bubble being created and the market crashing when the owner of the hoard decides to sell. We saw this happen with EVE Online. This also creates issues with the act of pirating ships in-game. It now has a real-world monetary consequence to losing a ship. Furthermore, what happens with insurance? Does that then duplicate the NFT, creating more on the market because they had to replace the one that was stolen? And what if the person who stole the ship is in league with the person who purchased it originally? Did they just commit insurance fraud? And how do you investigate that on an unregulated market? And of course then, that also leads to security in general. What about hackers within your game environment? What happens when a hacker steals an item and somehow spoofs the system into thinking that there was a transfer of your ship to their account? Or how about with just plain bugs?
No, I don't think that ever can happen in the game unless there's wallets attached to it. So that's something that I'm not quite sure Morphologis understands about. That, you know, the NFT that you buy in Star Atlas are games that sell NFTs of ships and then will give you the ship in game. You know, the NFT is separate from the ship that's in game unless they tie a hard wallet, or unless they tie a wallet into the game where you can transfer goods. But the only time that NFT can ever leave your wallet is if you use your password and then send it to somebody else's wallet. Nobody can hack into your wallet unless they know your mnemonic phrase, which is absolutely something that nobody would ever fucking figure out because it's 12 or 24 words that are like a phrase that nobody's ever going to fucking hack into your wallet to take your NFT. There would have to be some type of transactional thing in the game with a wallet, and you would have to type in your password in order to send something to somebody else's wallet. So if your ship in the game blows up, you're not going to lose your NFT. There's no way I could see that anybody could take your NFT from your wallet. So that I don't agree with, unless I just did not understand the context and got that wrong.
If you fall through a planet and you lose your gear worth real-world money?
Yeah, like that's a great question. Verp says, wouldn't you need a hardwired wallet in a game like Star Atlas? So you would have a wallet, right? And the wallet has an address, okay, Verpine? And that wallet, the only way that any type of digital assets, crypto, NFTs could leave that wallet is if you type in your spending password and send it to somebody else's address. Nobody can take it just by knowing your public address. The only way that somebody could take it from your wallet is if they know your mnemonic phrase or your spending password. And that's pretty fucking unheard of. I don't know if that could ever really fucking happen unless somebody could literally, if you wrote it down digitally in your PC, your mnemonic phrase or your spending password, and somebody hacked into your PC and found it, then maybe, but that is such a fucking like 1% thing to ever happen, Verpine. Really good question. And that's why a lot of people will take their mnemonic phrase and write it on Johnny Mnemonic. Right, dude. Right. That's why a lot of people will take their mnemonic phrase and they will write it on paper or put it somewhere safe and not attach it digitally to anything. So that is a very, very, very great question. And Effigy says Mt. Gox couldn't get hacked either. Now, see, that's something different. Mt. Gox was a decentralized exchange, one of the very first tied with Bitcoin, and people left their Bitcoin on an exchange, okay, which means that their wallet was tied to a centralized exchange. So that is something people should understand too. People need to inform and educate their audience, and that's what I'm going to do here in this case, where an Effigy is saying, well, Mt. Gox couldn't get hacked. And you know, it's because I think an Effigy doesn't understand, and I'm gonna, you know, I'm sorry if I sound preachy in Effigy, but I want to educate, is that Mt. Gox was an exchange with a wallet that is tied to the exchange. So the exchange knows your wallet address, right? And that is why all that Bitcoin got taken from Mt. Gox, and people got their Bitcoin stolen because they left their money on an exchange. And that's why you'll hear in the crypto community a lot, not your keys, not your wallet, right? So that's why it's important to take the crypto that you buy on an exchange and put it in your own wallet. Put it something in a wallet that is your own, like a cold storage wallet or something of that nature. And, you know, essentially you become your own bank, which is why a lot of these banks are worried, because the banking system is an old legacy system now, and people still aren't aware of a lot of what is going on in this realm of cryptocurrency and NFTs. And that, to me, as somebody who's involved with trading, is a great thing, because it means that people don't quite understand it yet, and that it's still very early. And that's why I see a lot of people that talk to me and they say, DG, like, what, don't you think I'm too late to the party with crypto? And I'm like, guys, it's just fucking beginning. It's volatile as hell. It goes up, it goes down, it goes all over the fucking place, because nobody knows what the fuck it is yet. But the people that know what it is, that crypto and NFTs are now, it's like being involved in Google or Facebook in the early 2000s or late 1990s, when people were kind of like not quite sure what the internet was going to be. And they were like, hey, you know, what about this Netflix? Fuck Netflix. I don't know about Netflix. I love Blockbuster or shit like this, because people didn't see where it was going. They didn't understand the impact that these tech companies were going to have. And it's kind of the same thing right now. People aren't educated. People are not informed, because people aren't taking the time out to educate their audience. So I hope that it helped in Effigy about the Mt. Gox situation. You know, I hope I'm helping people out to understand a little bit more about these things. And like I said, a lot of cryptocurrencies can act as currencies, but a lot of other cryptocurrencies are more like digital assets. And NFTs, non-fungible tokens, can be attached to your wallet as well. And those should also be considered digital assets. Okay. So like everything I'm seeing here right now is great. This talk right here, right now, is great. I think many more people are going to start to realize what in fact is happening. And again, it is the digitization of everything that has not been digitized yet. The art world, okay? You can own digitized art right now, and it cannot be copied. Sure, somebody can do a print screen and copy it, but because it is not attached to the code, to the ledger, people can see it easily that it is faked, that it is not truly the original copy. So therefore, you can own a digital asset. It is the digitization of the banking system. It is the digitization of energy. It is going to pretty much take over everything that has not been digitized yet in a huge, huge way. Starlet says, you are doing a great job here, DG. Very eloquent. Thank you so much, Starlet. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Real estate, right. Contracts, smart contract platforms, or SCPs. There's a lot of cryptos out there that are involved in this, smart contract platforms. There's plenty of utility in a lot of the cryptocurrencies out there. And I personally can see the value, or have a better bead on valuations when it comes to cryptocurrencies over NFTs. NFTs are very speculative. It's the art world. I'm not so great with that. Some people have a really great eye or understand the backstories behind the people that are posting the art, and there is a value or inherent value based upon these stories or the artists behind them. I'm not so great with that. What I am great with is valuations of cryptocurrencies, and looking at cryptocurrencies and being able to say, does this have a function? Does this have a utility? And then based upon that, and math, love math, taking math and figuring out, okay, is this an undervalued currency, crypto? What do I see valuations on this particular, because of the utility provided by the blockchain that the cryptocurrency is on. So looking at the blockchain, looking at the crypto attached to the blockchain, and being able to realize this has a utility, this has a purpose, this has a function, you can say, okay, here's where I think it's going. Here's what I think it's worth. Coins like, these are opinions, not financial advice here. But like, I look at Solana and I see what's doing for the NFT world, and I see the transactions rates so much lower than Ethereum. I see value in Solana, even though some people would argue that it's more of a centralized blockchain because 51% of the coins are owned by the people that fucking produce the blockchain and Solana. I get it, but I still see the functionality of it. I still see the value in Solana. I still see the value in Cardano. Everybody poo-pooing Charles Hoskinson, but I still see the value in Cardano, even though it took a big fucking hit. I still see the value in Luna, but it's tied to a stable coin called UST. It's very concerning because I think that the government's going to come in and overregulate everything, as the government usually does. So I think Luna has somewhat of a vulnerability right there. So I'd be careful for people to be very careful in Luna. I do have a trading channel, by the way, guys, and this is one of the reasons why I talk about this in depth a lot, and I'm very interested in this. So sorry, I'm getting away from the gaming, and that's my apologies here. But I will say on the trading channel, we have done great. We've got some stocks that aren't doing so good. We got some winners and we got some losers, but we have 6-timed on IOTX. IOTX is a cryptocurrency, and we're out of that position. We have 2-timed and 3-timed on AMP a few times. We have 2-timed to 3-timed on Luna. We have 2-timed on Solana. Okay. Now, again, it sounds like I have a lot of money. I don't. You know, we're talking a couple $100 here and there. But it's nice to be able to help other people. And it's nice to break these things down and inform and to educate, because literally it is math. It is math.
How do you pursue the company?
You help so much,
the
Grizz.
bug happened?
Grizz, you help so much, bro.
And because of this, the security associated with
love
these
investment
systems
answers.
have to be beefed up.
I love investment answers, Kita. How you doing, Kita? Kita, by the way, we talked about your Elite Dangerous post this morning, brother. Listen, Kita, thank you so much. That was such a wonderful talk, Kita. I hope that you are here. That was such a great talk we had this morning. Yes. So I will post that to the channel, and I showed the direct messages you sent me. We had such a wonderful talk on Elite Dangerous that we're calling No Dangerous. It was a great time. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that, Kita.
Which of course costs more money and increases the data load on the servers and the creators of the game. And as these security systems become more complex, so too does the system required to compute the blockchain, thus creating more energy, wasting more energy, and becoming more destructive to the environment that we actually live in. So in sum then, it's gonna...
Okay, and I'm sorry I keep stopping this video, but I'm telling you right now, whatever else you kids are doing. Welcome to this crazy fam. This is what you're joining here. This is what you're joining here. A little bit of crazy. Grizz says, this is great. This is great. But without the government, won't it be another stock crash like the 1900s? I am not saying that we don't need the government. We obviously need the government, Grizz. We need the government, and the government, I don't think that crypto will take over fiat completely. I think crypto and digital assets will eventually, be just as important as a digital UDC coin, a USDC, which is going to be the digital coin that the United States adopts. And we will still need fiat currency. We will still need it. They will work in conjunction with one another. It won't be combative. It shouldn't be combative. And by me, being a crypto enthusiast or digital asset enthusiast, I am not somebody who's saying down with the government, anarchy, and you'll have a lot of Bitcoin maximalists that do that. I don't subscribe to that. I love the police. I love firemen. I love I love everything that the government provides for us. I don't think crypto is gonna be like this big anarchy moment that takes everything down. I don't believe in that. But they will work in conjunction with one another. I do think that the banking systems as we know it now are going to have to adopt crypto to survive. And what you will see is as these big institutions start to adopt crypto, you'll see many people wishing that they got involved with it before the institutions did. And we're starting to see institutions adopt crypto right now. And we're starting to see like Grayscale. We're starting to see like the spot ETFs, being pushed. And we're starting to see major adoption in countries like El Salvador, making Bitcoin legal tender. We're starting to see a huge shift, and just the way we think about money. We're starting to see kind of like what is money being, like money 3.0. We went from like shells, to metals, to gold, stuff of that nature, silver, to fiat, to cash. And now we're going into the digital realm because of two factors, space and time. Portability of money, which is why you saw fiat become fiat invented, because gold was way too heavy to move around. So, and now we're seeing this digital form of money, and we're really questioning money. We're really questioning the way that our governments handle finances badly. They do it badly. They're so worried about public opinion because politicians are tied to the fiat system. The fiat system's crumbling. The fiat system's coming down. I think the dollar's going to be a reserve currency, like everybody, like it is now. I just think that there's a lot more printed of it, and that there's going to be hyperinflation, and there's a lot of things that affect this market. But yeah, Invest Answers is great. I watch Invest Answers. Great guy. What does he say? Math. Money freedom. I love that dude. That dude is James is his name. He's such a cool dude. Love that dude.
It's going to change the way that security works. It's going to change the way game design works. It's going to change how much you have to grind.
Captain Explodo says, we don't need government. We do for certain things. We still need government. I'm not pro government really, but we still need government for certain things like the military, the police, the firemen, Thank you, 10 hour. Appreciate that sub. DG in the house. DG Lee.
It's gonna be glass.
You guys are great. I'm having such a great time with you guys.
Because you can't have things too easily earned, so you're gonna have to work really, really hard to earn chips in game, much more so than you could before in the current system with Star Citizen. And obviously, the honesty and representation is always going to be a concern where people have their investments to worry about. But finally, and for me, most importantly, we have to talk about the game intent. Is it made for fun, or is it made for investment? Now, There can be a case where it's made for fun and investment, but with a lot of the games that we've seen, they've been more so focused on investors and making money. That's the drive for people to make and play this game. And a game like that, to me, carries a lot more real-world stress than I want to get personally out of video game. When I hop into Star Citizen, it's a form of escapism. I'm enjoying an alternate reality where I can fly a starship, because reality kind of sucks and I can't fly a starship. I want to go to space and visit different planets, but we're far away from that ability right now. If I had to worry about losing real-world money in that, I think I'd be too stressed to play. So then,
here's the thing. I don't think people understand. The people that want to play for fun can still play for fun, and in addition, make money. That is really what it comes down to. Yes, there'll be an aspect to it where you do lose money, but if you're playing the game to play the game and have fun, you use the in-game currency that will be a crypto. That crypto will then buy you whatever it is that you need, and you can essentially keep the crypto in the game and never cash out. So essentially you didn't lose anything in terms of involving crypto in the game. You only have the ability to make money. You might need to spend a little bit to get whatever it is that you need to start the game in terms of a pledge. But after that, you're in the game. You can earn all the crypto in the game that you want, use the crypto to buy and sell things in the game, and essentially play the game having fun and not really lose anything. So I don't understand that argument. I don't agree with him in terms of that, but so far so good. He's done a good job for the most part so far. 10 Hours says, saw your Drake Leviathan video and couldn't stop laughing. Stumbled upon your Twitch stream this morning, and now you're on my favorite already. Keep it up, man. Thanks, 10 Hour. I appreciate you, man. That video that we watched was from Dr. Popcorn. That Leviathan Drake video was so fucking hilarious. I think that thing has like 300,000 views or something of that nature. That is such a fucking funny video, and the credit goes to Dr. Popcorn. He is a funny dude. And I never laughed so hard watching that video. Thanks, 10 Hour. It's nice to have you here. We try and find golden nuggets for you guys. We try and find like really cool content that you guys aren't aware of. And this is really good. This is really good so far.
I, as a content creator for Star Citizen, think that Star Citizen will eventually have
not the NFTs, Tommy. And you can't really lose those NFTs. So that's a misconception, Tommy. And I don't know how long you've been here for this. You might have just arrived, but there's no way you can lose the NFT as it is tied to a wallet. The only way that you can lose it is if you send it to somebody else's wallet address through your spending password. So there is no way you're going to lose your NFT. But what I was referring to in terms of context, Tommy, was talking about the crypto. If a game used crypto, the only thing that you would lose is your initial pledge for the NFT to get in, and then everything in game you can get in game in terms of the crypto. So that's what I was referencing to, Tommy. I hope that clears things up. NFTs are one of a kind, right? Yes, that is correct. It is a digital asset, and somebody could copy it, but people could then determine if it was a copy or not because it is tied to blockchain, which is an online ledger, and therefore people would know the real from the fake, Grizz. AR says, if the fun of the game is significantly impacted by those that are there to earn, then that would be a major factor for those looking only to find escape and enjoyment. And Verp, that is a very good concern. I think, though, that what you'll see is like in any other game. You see it in games that don't have crypto or NFTs attached to them right now, where people are literally there to play the game for the economy's sake, that will try to exploit markets all the time in games like EVE Online and others that don't have crypto or NFTs attached to it. Now, sure, there would be more incentive because people would want to make money and profit, but I don't know how much that would impact somebody's fun in gameplay that wasn't really involved in that type of thing. In terms of like what things would cost, again, that cryptocurrency would be tied in the game. And, like in the game, you could make those cryptocurrency, you could make that in the game just as easily as you could if you were to buy it on an exchange and then plug it into a wallet and then use it in the game. So I'm not quite sure I exactly agree with you, but I understand your concern because if more people are playing the game for like investment and money making, then, there's a good sound argument to be had that, it might ruin somebody's game experience. But I don't necessarily subscribe to that, only because I already can see it now in games that don't have cryptocurrencies or NFTs applied to it. You know what I mean, Verb? Maybe there'll be more of it. But like some people like playing in terms of just like the economic and industrial gameplay and are in it because they view that as their own personal economic PvP, and that's their form of fun. Like what we call them, armchair warriors. I used to be one on EVE Online all the time. I would try and find like great deals and then try and profit as much as I can in EVE Online, Ostentatious says, if you have a shifting economy connected to cash flow, it can be a stress to avoid peak play times when pirates are out. And again, like I'll go back to that original statement and that opinion of mine. Ostentatious is like, I think that's in any game. I think inherently that is in any game, regardless if it has cryptocurrency or NFTs or not, This is great. You guys are bringing up such great points. Verb says, I see your point, but those games economies aren't currently dealing with real world funds. Right. And that's why I say, like, I could see, like, because there's more incentive, because the actual value is more tangible and real. Right, Verb. But I don't necessarily know how much that would affect my fun in terms of like my gameplay, other than things might cost more. But then again, I could actually make, that cryptocurrency the same way I could make ISK on EVE Online, as everything would be attached to in-game currencies, and I could do something in the game and get somebody take their cryptocurrency, put it into my wallet for whatever service it is that I'm performing. If it is trucking goods, if it is security, if it is pirating. And that's the only thing I think that's like one thing that's a little bit more concerning to me in the gameplay that involves pirating. because you will have people that do put real money to buy the cryptocurrency, right? Then they'll take that cryptocurrency, and of course the cryptocurrency is tied into the game, and you will need to use your wallet to transfer funds to different people to buy in-game assets with that cryptocurrency, right? If people are just involved with it without putting any of their own money into it, then they're only dealing with the cryptocurrency in game. But if people are actually playing it to make money, they will take their money, convert it to the cryptocurrency, put it in the game, and then they will take that money and they have much more to lose. But see, they made the decision. So they have more to lose because they put money into the game. They're buying the cryptocurrency for a different reason than why you have the cryptocurrency. And there lies in a very important term, a scenario to point out, is that if somebody gets pirated and they have actually used real money to purchase the cryptocurrency and those assets get stolen, yeah, you're going to have a lot of butt hurt. So Verp, that is one good thing to mention. I mean, good or bad, but that is one good thing to bring up here, is that people that actually put money in to get a return on investment and they buy a cryptocurrency, right, to make money in the game, if they're putting that in the game, they have more to lose. So you're really only going to actually hurt if you're putting money into it to take money out, and you lose because of lack of planning in the game. And if you get pirated in the game, it means a hell of a lot more, and you have a hell of a lot more to lose. So that is something that will be a definite hurdle for this industry evolving, this gaming industry evolving. So very, very, very good point, Verp. I like that. I like what you said. I had a friend in EVE that all he did was PvP and the game markets. He called the markets in EVE economic PvP. Same thing here. I used to love to do that, Explodo. I would be a billionaire in EVE and in real life already. And Grizz, see, that's why we like cryptocurrencies in games, because we will be. No. I can only imagine the crying when people put money they don't have into it and lose it. Absolutely, Tech. There's going to be so many tears, and those Care Bear tears are going to be a lot more fucking meaningful then, man. People are going to get pissed. And then you have real world implications, right? Because if somebody loses their fucking money that way, and they didn't have the money in the first place to put in, but they did it anyway and didn't realize the risk, holy shit, they're going to be pissed in the real world. And that might have negative implications for the real world that we live. Those people might go out and do something fucking stupid and hurt somebody. So that is a fucking use case against it. Right. So there's a lot of different ways you can cut this up, man. There's a lot of different perspectives and perceptions involved in cryptocurrencies in gaming. I think NFTs are a lighter way of dealing with like it. But like if you involve cryptocurrencies in it, you're upping the ante. You're definitely upping the ante. When you have the conscious notion of this is my money, making money in games like this will be bloody difficult inherently. Absolutely. I love your guys' comments. They are fucking fantastic. Tommy says China farmers and cheats would peak too if UC had real value. And I will say something, because I see this comment a lot as well, Tommy. And I will say this. China is on a China ban. I don't know if you've noticed what's going on, Tommy, but China is banning everything. China has now banned the amount of time that kids can play video games and adults can play video games, and it's ridiculous. I think it's almost like 3 hours a week now. So if you're playing video games in China, you are now reduced to the amount of hours that you can play video games thanks to Chinese government. And I would hate to live in China. I would hate to have my government tell me how many hours of fucking video games I can play. But I can tell you that will have a negative effect and it will have a positive effect for everybody, because what that means is not true. Under 18 is 3 hours. Okay, under 18, 3 hours. Okay, sorry about that. So 18 and under. But I will say that's a large portion of people that play video games. And I will say that there will be some type of reduction in gold farming. So I think there will be a serious reduction in the amount of gold farming because of the bans that China put on to is 18 years or younger. Thank you for the correction. By the way, Grizz. So yeah, so we'll see. But like, I mean, if they farm it, there's just going to be more currency, which means it's going to debase the value of the currency. You know, There'll be more of it around because there'll be more farming. I mean, we've dealt with farming in other games before. It's nothing new. WoW had tons of gold farming still to this day. They've tried their best to limit it, but like farming is always going to be there, whether it's cryptocurrency or not, you know. Yeah, they can do that too. Some people don't have the ability or the means in which, you know, some of the farmers don't have the money or means to move out of the country for various reasons in China. But yeah, I think farming is always going to be an issue, but I wouldn't say that's like any deterrence from me saying I definitely would like, you know, cryptocurrencies involved in it. If I can have fun and make money at the same time, I personally don't see anything wrong with it, but that's my own opinion. I mean, I'm an adult. I can make decisions and I can figure out where the risks are at. And if I decided to put my money in, then I would just go ahead and put my money in and realize that I'd only do what I could afford to lose, discretionary money. And it's the same thing we say about Star Citizen and people pledging. You know, some of the people that are the angriest Star Citizen content creators that I've ever met put in way too much money that they couldn't afford to lose. But they kept doing it because they figured if they kept putting more money in, that the game would come out faster. And because that it did not, these are the angriest content creators that I've ever seen in my life. And they are violently against the project now because they can't get their money back, or fought so vehemently to get their money back that, you know, they will forever be negative towards the project. And I think that's a kind of bias kind of viewpoint. And what I attribute that to is not being a fucking adult and not realizing that money that they put in is not discretionary at all. That they needed that money, but they were, you know, addicted. Now I feel like Grizz, wow. I feel like Grizz has the ability, if that's Grizz must have a lot of discretionary money. Grizz, or an addiction. We need a hotline for Grizz. The amount that Grizz has actually helped us out in our community is amazing. You know, Grizz is a dude who I believe is you know, doing pretty well for himself, and he's able to say, hey, I've got the discretionary money, I believe in the project, here you go. And you know, he's helped out our own community and put up an Orion, an 890 jump, an Endeavor, which we just gave away, and helping this community out. And so I have nothing but love for Grizz. We call him Saint Grizz here. So, you know, it's just determining, you know, how much that you're able to pledge or spend, and or not at all, or how much that you have that is discretionary, you know. So I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Like all the amount of talk in here just kind of confirms that you guys are like really grown-ups and adults, and you know, you have the ability to make these choices, you know.
Non-fungible token ships in-game. No, I am 99.9% certain that we will never have NFTs in Star Citizen. And that's because we're just too far in development to really be able to rework the system to handle that sort of change to gameplay and
unless we get to that point where they need to keep that revenue rolling, because ship sales are 80% of the revenue. And when that revenue is gone, they're going to have to think of other methods and to gain that revenue to keep the employees and the buildings and everything that they have as far as expenses. And they have to say, how are we going to make that revenue up? And then they'll come up with like an NFT, like, you know, a way in to bring more money. But like, I agree where they're at now. Like I would say like right now at this point, they'll keep with the model they have. But I would think it would almost be like cutting off your nose to spite your face, not to think about it in the future once ship sales are gone.
But more importantly, I don't think that Star Citizen is a scam, contrary to the cynicism that I see in the media and, to some extent, a part of the community. I think Chris Roberts is really truly trying to make his dream game. I think that this is his magnum opus.
Yep.
And that, for him, what he gets out of this is the pleasure of creating a truly enjoyable product and not making a crap ton of money. Because if this truly is a scam, I don't know why they're hiring more developers.
Right.
It doesn't seem to make any sense.
Right.
Wouldn't you want to just pretend that you're doing stuff and sell more ships as, you know, pictures? Wouldn't you want to be less transparent? Wouldn't you want to hide the fact that it's taking you a while to develop this or that and not put anything on the roadmap? I mean, a lot of this doesn't add up for me, but I can understand some people's perspective because it has been 10 years. That's a long time for a video game. But I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you think that Star Citizen will introduce an NFT? Please tell me why. Or do you think that it shouldn't and you agree with all the reasons that I've listed or some reasons that I forgot to mention? There are a lot more aspects to this that I don't have time to cover. The video would be a heck of a lot longer and probably a bit more monotonous if I really covered the entire scope of how...
Kind of like how it was for us here reviewing it. Apologies, and thanks for everybody for sticking around here. That was a really well done video by Morphologis. I will definitely give that a like. I think that's very well done. He went at it from all angles, and I shouldn't be surprised because he makes great content, but I actually am surprised. He kind of delved into a lot of the issues and explained blockchain, NFTs, and cryptocurrency very well. Yeah, I think he did a great job. Good job, Morphologis. You did a good job. Back to the show. What is this? Hold on a second. When you can't afford ships in Star Citizen. Okay, that was great. That was really good. Here, who's this guy? Is it Volume? That was really funny. I'm giving that a like. Very well done, dude. Go support this guy. That was pretty brilliant. I like that. Very, very well done.